Good morning from the mountains of Nagano, and one of the most beautiful places that I know in Japan. Today, we're walking the mossy forest of Mononoke. Hopefully, we've got the timing just right. The sun has just started coming up. It's around 4 o'clock in the morning right now. And since we're starting to get into the summer here in Japan, the sun comes up nice and early. If only my brain woke up as fast as the sun did. Today, with any luck, we'll be greeted with beautiful sunshine through the trees as we explore this area. A few years back, I managed to get a video for the main channel of this area in absolute perfect conditions, but they're very rare. Also, I am just slightly catching my breath this morning as I sprinted from the camper van out here to capture all of this. This forest goes pretty deep. In fact, if you wanted to, you could come out and do a multi-hour hike through this forest. But as you can see from the beauty of the moss, we are in for an absolute treat today. So, I've come out to this particular forest maybe 5 or 6 times now, and it's always been very challenging to get it right in the right conditions. And I love how every time I come out, we come across a photographer early in the morning. Ohayou gozaimasu. You see, very soon, breaking through these trees, we're going to get some beautiful sunshine. But this particular mountain, not unlike Mount Fuji, is rather tall. It's not Mount Fuji tall, but it does get a lot of cloud cover and it gets a lot of rain. And all the moisture and humidity that you get up here leads to all of the beautiful moss that we have right now. And if you get just the right conditions, which is after heavy rainfall with bright, heavy sunlight, then you get ohayou gozaimasu. You get beautiful sun rays cutting through the trees with mist rising up off the ground. Now, I'm actually amazed at 4 o'clock in the morning that we've already come across not one, but 2 people out here. Beyond this area here, maybe about 5 to 7 minutes down, there is a campsite. So there are people who stay here overnight. And the parking lot only had 1 other vehicle in it. But the deeper we go in, the more beautiful it gets. While it looks like this right now, it might be hard to believe that this is actually not the beautiful part of the forest. That is quite a bit ahead of us. So there's a bit of a unicorn that you want to try and catch with this space. And it's got to be fairly heavy rainfall in the early summer months with bright sunshine and a snap of early morning heat. And if you get all of these conditions, rainfall overnight, that snap of sunshine and heat in the morning, then you get these beautiful rays of sun that just cut through. But it only happens a few times a year, which is why I've come out here so many times, is simply trying to catch that. And we managed to do it once. But I came back about 2 days ago to try and record this area for you guys in full, because it's one of those spaces that you do require a car to get to, but I recommend that anybody who has the ability comes out and explores, because it's just such a gorgeous experience. Now, they say that the official forest that Mononoke was modeled off of was out in Yakushima, which is an island south of Kagoshima area. But not everybody's going to be able to make it down there. And I've been to that area. It oddly, despite being a forest, feels very touristy. Because if I remember correctly, there's paid entry, quite possibly paid parking, and it really feels like you've arrived at a tourist destination when you get there. The forest is big and beautiful, but not all sections are mossy like this. Whereas coming out here, I think the parking is something like 600 yen to park. But you've got this beautifully cared for forest area. And the entire place just looks like this, and it's gorgeous and exciting. So we're gonna try and get down here around the corner and past the campsite, hopefully before the sun peaks up over that ridgeline of trees there and starts breaking through the forest. Now, it has been raining up until today. When I came out here 2 days ago to try and record the walk, I ended up kind of having to throw in the towel because the rain was simply too strong. You see, it wasn't just the rain either, it was the rain and wind. You had that beautiful sideways heavy rain, and it just kind of made keeping the camera dry a near impossibility. And this area here starts to narrow up as we go through. The first 2 or 3 times that I had visited, it was either rain or pure cloud cover. And then a few years back, I had walked a section of the Nakasendo Trail, which is fully accessible by public transportation and one of the most beautiful walks you can do in Japan. The section between Magomejuku and Sumagojuku is by far my favorite, and I cannot recommend it enough. But the next morning, I wanted to do this walk, so I drove directly from there out to here, parked overnight, and was a little bit disappointed. It said it was going to be clear skies, but I was really hoping for that rain. And then somewhere around 2 o'clock in the morning, I got woken up to the sound of an absolute downpour hitting the car, which disappointed me in its own because I was like, oh no, we're not going to be able to get it at all. But then sure enough, when I woke up, it was completely clear skies. And as we came into the forest, we got the perfect conditions. I will link that one up above at the end and in the description so that you can see. But I also wanted to show what this place looks like as a full walk. Out here we have the campgrounds. And surprisingly, despite having much nicer weather right now, you don't actually have anybody in the campground at the moment. All these little spaces set up, and I don't know if you can hear it through the audio, but we've got wind rustling through the trees, and it is a really nice and peaceful way to start the morning. Now, these walkways, just these wooden plank walkways, Japan really wants people to enjoy the nature and the national parks and everything around. And so there are many beautiful mountain hikes and walks through which you can walk, and they're all laid out like this with wooden planks to make them more accessible. But again, it's wood, so over time it will wear down and break apart, and they actually go through and replace a lot of them. And every time I've come through here, despite all the humidity it's got to go through, these walkways are well taken care of. And it looks like we might make it to the area that I'm hoping to make it to on time before the sun breaks over the edge. But I'm also noticing cloud cover above us, so it could be a bit of a gamble today too. Either way, we can enjoy. Oh, this one's a little wobbly. The walk through here, and just try not to slip as we go. This section here just does not have my trust whatsoever. Just skip over it to that section. And there we are. Now, when most people think of visiting Japan, they'll default to going to the more touristy places. You want to see the cities. A lot of people want to experience the street food. Some people want to catch a sumo match, which is always interesting, by the way. But if you can make the time on your trip to come out to a place like this and kind of connect with nature a little bit, is very, very much worthwhile. Again, while this is beautiful and lush and green and just a really peaceful morning walk, you can do this walk any time of day as long as you're not struck by rain. In fact, I did do a little bit of a walk yesterday in the rain, and it was still nice. It was, again, despite the thick tree cover, we had that crazy sideways rain, but it was still nice to walk through here even in the rain. But if you don't have access to a car at all, and you just want to find a nice mix of peaceful Japanese towns and villages and nature to experience for a day, I cannot recommend strongly enough to go out to either Magome-juku or Tsumago-juku and walk from one to the other. I personally prefer the walk from Magome-juku to Tsumago, but really either direction would be completely fine. And there are buses that run between them, so if you need to get back to one, you can do that. It's all accessible by public transportation, and it'll add this unforgettable aspect to your trip that you will definitely be so glad that you did. And if you're one of those who can't come out to Japan, or that's not in the cards in the near future, well, then I'll just continue to take you on these walks, and we'll make the best of our time. And we've got the sun now cutting through in the distance, just poking through the trees there. The downside today being, so let me show you. We can go up this way and we'll take a quick peek at the sun from here. Oh, that one's leaning. But despite it being early summer here in Japan right now, this is like mid-June. And despite that, it's actually surprisingly cold this morning. It's only about 5 degrees Celsius at the moment. Good Lord with the English. And so we're not getting that mist rising off the ground that fills the entire forest with this magical vibe. And then this ends here, but the walkway itself actually continues on. So if you want, and you've got proper hiking boots on, you can continue to walk through here like this. But with the sun up, there's actually a section down over here that I really want to capture. So we'll continue on this way. The colder morning air actually feels somewhat refreshing. And I was hoping would really help me wake up, but this is day 3 on this trip of waking up at like 3:45 in the morning in order to come out and capture the quiet beauty of Japan. And so it starts to you'd think I'd have a rhythm by now. Oh, it'd be easy to wake up this early in the morning, but it'd probably be easier if I went to bed a little earlier. But we are gonna head down this way to what is arguably the most beautiful spot in this forest. And these boards have kind of started to decay a bit. But now, the very first time that I managed to capture this, as I came through the forest fairly close to the entrance, the sun had already started to come up. And I came across another photographer named Hashi. And as I was recording, this is also much steeper than it looks on camera. So please walk with care if you come out, especially if it's wet. But as I was recording what I thought was a beautiful, beautiful spot in the entranceway, he ran by me at rather high speed, and I was like, oh, he's got to know something good. And so I sped up to try and catch up with him and found him just down over here. Because this section here is literally called the Forest of Mononoke. And just taking a look at the moss around, you can see why. How beautiful it is. By far, one of my favorite spots in the entire country. And as we get the sun slowly breaking through and casting light onto the moss, the colors will light up and become even more beautiful and vibrant. And actually there's a sign right here that says Mononoke no Mori, the forest of Mononoke. And this does continue on quite a while down. But if you take a look in there, you can see the way the light casts off the branches. And I just can't wait for the sun to come up just a little tiny bit more. Where are you, sun? I see you hiding back there. There's actually a pond right in the middle of all of this. And there's a hiking or trekking trail that goes clear through that pond. Oh. With the birds in the background, it just makes it so much nicer. We'll come back this way and wait for just a little more sunlight on this section. So I've waited about 15 minutes and we've definitely got more light cascading through here. We've got so much more ahead of us, so we're going to keep pushing forward and exploring more of the forest as we go. Some of my favorite memories in Japan have just been solo walks through the forests like this. You gotta kind of lean past that tree there. And the real beauty in this is not just in the moss or the sun cutting through, but it's in the backlighting that you get as the light hits the moss from behind. But look at some of these spaces, like right here. Now, as we go through this, some of the walkways do get considerably more narrow, so we do need to watch our step so that we don't fall off the edge into the moss. And also, I think it goes without saying, but we don't want to cross the rope and go out and step onto the moss either. See, and you can tell right here they're looking to replace a bunch of these boards as well, and have brought a ton of fresh ones out. Now, one of the other real treats to coming out to this space is the drive out here, because the road to reach this place is closed for over half the year. Oh, I can see why they want to replace these. These ones are getting quite wobbly. And there's a whole brand new section up here. Oh, wow. They've even put up poles, little guides, if you will. But the road out here is closed for over half of the year. And so animals are not entirely accustomed to having cars and people come through. As we get here, we have a little bit of a creek, but as you can see, the water is unbelievably clear. Look at this. And so driving out here, you come across a ton of deer. The first time I came out, I was lucky enough to come across foxes as well. And as we continue this way, we're going to get a little closer to the lake area. Now, as we get closer to the lake area, we're getting a nice cold breeze coming through the trees. And it's amazing how much of this has actually been rebuilt and changed since the last time that I came out. One thing that I will say Japan does very well is taking care of these nature walk spaces so that the people who come out to enjoy them can have the best experiences possible. You can see the lake right there. As we come around, we may even get a clearer view of it. Lake, pond, it's a pond. I keep calling it a lake, but it's a pond. This is always the kind of space that I've thought, if I ever buy like a retirement home in Japan, that I would love to have my little cottage, if you will, coming out to a space where you've got a forest with just your own pond right there, with your lake house built right along the side of it. That would be the dream. Oh. Preferably being the only house out there. Oh. And last time that I'd come through here, I actually stepped through one of the rotting pieces of wood and kind of went down, and the other photographer that I'd come across, Hashi, was right there in that moment and helped me out because I got a little bit stuck. I even think that made it into the main video. But right here the path splits into two ways. Now, out this way, there is a fairly long and beautiful hike that I wasn't able to complete last time, just because of how long the walk would have been. That, if I believe, takes you out to kind of like a little natural hot spring area. And this pathway here takes us around the lake. I want to show you just a little bit of this area out here, because the walk up here, the boards end, but it becomes a really nice walk. So we'll come up this way, and I'll give you just a peek for anybody who might want to come out here and do this walk on their own sometime, because it is very, very worthwhile. Some parts of this forest give me like Forest Moon of Endor vibes, but as you can see, some sections of walkway are a little more challenging than the others. I wonder if I should come back sometime and do the full walk out to the next space, which is back here. One of the hikers that I had come across when I was doing the walk the first time was coming back from that area, and he said round trip it can be over 3 hours. And this section here, there's literally just one board left. Okay, we'll walk carefully as it takes us over the water here. Oh wow. beautiful, beautiful space. As the water just runs down the rocks here from up there. We're on to narrower boards here. And it gets kind of steep as well. But luckily, I've kind of got these little boards nailed in across to give you a bit more grip. And then you make your way into this section here where the boards stop and you just climb along the rocks. So, whoa. And the rocks are a little slippery, as you can see. Oh. But this alone feels like, it could be a really nice long walk for us sometime. If you think we should come back. The entrance to it kind of looks like this. And this just continues on and on for quite a while. The sun is definitely up now, and we're getting a lot more light. But if what going up was a challenge, coming down has the potential for even more slippage. So we're going to take this as slowly and carefully as possible, because every step I'm taking, my feet are slipping out below me. Wet logs, wet rocks, in one of Japan's most beautiful spaces here. Now, for those of you who have never been out to Japan, if you have a space, and we slipped again, if you have a space that you've always wanted to come and explore or experience, where is it? And this is where we have the most potential for slippage, so we'll kind of take it nice and easy. And why that particular space? Whether it's somewhere in nature or whether it's a particular city or town or castle, where is it that you've wanted to go? And for those of you who have been here, where is your favorite spot that you've experienced so far? Or a spot that's still on your list? Do me a favor and leave those so that everybody can kind of share with each other and learn from each other's best experiences. Oh, I absolutely love this so much. One of the most common questions that I'll get is, well, where should I go in Japan? And what do you recommend me to go see? And it's always such a difficult question to answer because everybody has different preferences. Some people are going to want to see more spaces like this, where some people are going to want to see more temples and shrines. Some people are going to want to enjoy the more anime-esque aspect of Japan. Some people want to hit the small towns or the bigger cities like Tokyo and Osaka. And this is the pond right out here. And right across there is the campsite that we came across in the beginning. And I don't know if I walked this in a full circle last time. So I'm looking forward to doing that this time. Last time I think I got a little bit beyond this space here and made my way back just because I really wanted to see that Mononoke forest area again. And another set of really steep, slippery boards. The other thing, for those of you who see my shadow, love winter sports, is this area of Japan. Ohayou gozaimasu. Is fantastic for winter sports. Oh, see this board here is kind of, it's seen better days. There we go. We'll come through this way here. And I had gone nearly 2 decades in Japan without experiencing any winter sports, and tried it for the first time last year, and now am absolutely hooked. And I've come out to 1 or 2 of the ski areas out in the Nagano area, but some of my favorites have actually been out in the Fukushima area near Aizu Wakamatsu. There is a there's a set of slopes that I really enjoy called Nekoma, and I spent a great deal of last winter there. But coming out to this area, because there are so many winter sports available, when you go out to thrift stores in this area, you find fantastic ski and snowboard gear available at most of the thrift stores for incredibly reasonable prices. And ohayou gozaimasu. And every now and then I'll get a question from people saying, "Hey, what are you saying to people as you walk by them?" And since it's morning, I will say, "Ohayou gozaimasu. Ohayou gozaimasu." That just means good morning. There's a certain kinship to be felt amongst other people who have gotten up at 4 or 5 in the morning to hike through a beautiful mountain area like this. The altitude is not overly crazy, but my body did take some time to adjust to it yesterday, and I was left with a little bit of a headache when I woke up. Today being day 2, spending the night here, my body has seemingly adjusted much more, and luckily woke up feeling completely fine. And this will bring us around that side over there. It looks like there's a little lake house or cabin or something over there. At this point, it's just curiosity for me, because I don't know if I came this far down last time. I don't think I did. And in my curiosity, I need to remember to watch my footing, because I keep slipping on everything. This is part of our early 2025 adventure road trip through Japan, where we've been exploring new and beautiful places every day. And last year as we did the 1 million seconds, yep, I slipped, across Japan trip. I don't know how many times I went down. I had worn shoes that had kind of like semi-spiky grip on them for hiking. They're meant to be like sporty hiking shoes, and they were lovely. But oh boy, the number of times I went down. So we've come out with the full boots this time, hoping for better results. But I think the common denominator here really is me. I'm the one that keeps slipping. And we've got the sun coming over the pond there, and this space here with the beautiful, beautiful moss. Okay, we gotta keep going. You see, each day I'm driving about 5 to 7 hours, some days as little as 3, bouncing back and forth between locations on this adventure, trying to find a variety of spots, from common and very, very worth visiting, all the way out to rare and unknown. And we've got another pathway up here that I didn't even know about. But this one has a pretty strong slip warning. And, well, I think we all know that if I go up there, I'm going to slip. So we're going to come this way and see what we've got over here. Got another creek coming through here. And a bit of a cabin and seemingly boathouse out here. Oh, I really skipped over this last time, didn't I? Got little boats here along the side of the lake, which I'm pretty sure you can just rent and go out onto the lake here. I keep calling it a lake. The pond. It is but a wee pond. And then there's even a restaurant here. And that opens... The cafe is 10 to 4, and lunch goes from 11 to 2:30. And the water is just so clear. I guess we continue on down this way. This is all brand new to me. See, they've even got signs here that say Tachiri Kinshi, and that means do not enter or do not cross the ropes. So, but I get the feeling they probably don't get a lot of visitors from overseas. So, it's monolingual. And this is kind of the second little rest spot here, where you'd be able to sit and just enjoy a beautiful view of the pond. Some beautiful birch trees here. Look at this one just laying into the water. It's such a nice mix of trees here. All kinds of pine. You've got the Japanese momiji or Japanese maple. You've got the birch. This is just a really nice space. And this is going to be person number 4 or 5 for us today. And what do we say when we greet them? Ohayou gozaimasu. We say good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu. The smile on my face right now, just for the fact that we get to walk through these beautiful mossy forests early in the morning and enjoy this atmosphere, these views, and the peace and quiet. And again, there's been a lot of talk. I've even done a documentary recently on the over-tourism and overcrowding in Kyoto. But for all of that over-tourism that Japan seems to be experiencing, there are so many spaces in Japan that are still experiencing no tourism. The vast majority of people won't go anywhere outside of the tourist trail, especially on that first trip. And while there are a lot of great spaces to see on that, there are so many better like this, some with public transport access, and some just like this one that you do need a car to get out to. I don't know of any bus tours that come out to places like this. Now, if you want to do the Nakasendo, that, for example, I'm sure that there are plenty of tours and buses and whatnot to take you out to those areas. But one of the goals is to show that there are so many places that actually want the visitors. One of the really common kind of comments that I got when I recommended other spaces in the Kyoto documentary was that I think this actually, so I got distracted. I'm pretty sure this brings us right back to the entrance. We came in from there. There's an entire other hiking course up there. You can see up here just how many other hiking courses there are. But I want to see the area that we came through. The sun is much higher in the sky now, so we're getting a bit brighter white light rather than the orange morning glow poking through the edge of the trees. Also, the forest cover is certainly grown over quite a bit in comparison to what it was the last time that I came out here. But I want to see this area a little more lit up. We won't go as far as Mononoke, but I do want to take a little bit of a peek through this walk, which is also nice and mossy. But one of the most common comments I was getting on that Kyoto documentary is, don't share these unknown quiet locations because then they're gonna get busy. And there's a certain level of gatekeeping in that mindset, but there's also just a certain level of like people wanting to protect these beautiful quiet spaces that they've been able to enjoy maybe while living in or visiting Japan. And I fully understand that. But even if I made a video with 2 million views showing some of the most beautiful spaces, not that many people are gonna go out. A perfect example being that the Nakasendo walk video that I shot before coming here last time. I think that has well over 1 million views on YouTube. And one of my favorite kind of weekend activities to do a few times a year, even after the pandemic, is go out and walk sections of the Nakasendo, especially that Magomejuku to Tsumagojuku section. I absolutely adore it. And guess what? It's still quiet. Even with 1 whatever million views, it's still quiet and peaceful. I've definitely come across other groups of non-Japanese visitors as well, but just because an area is known doesn't mean that it will be heavily visited. And this brings us back down to the campsite right here. So I don't think we need to be super shy or worried about sharing some of the most beautiful locations, because there are areas that have a ton of over-tourism and are struggling to deal with it. And there are just as many, way more even, that really just want visitors. They want to be able to greet guests, and I rolled my ankle there. Oh, that was fun. They want to be able to greet guests and have visitors and interact with people from overseas. So if you have any spaces that you really love and recommend, any great experiences that you have had in Japan, please share them with us down below. Thank you so much for walking with us today. And you know, I will see you again real soon. By the way, if you want to see this place in its full glory, I'll toss in a clip from the full video on the main channel here at the end, and I'll link it for you. See you real soon.